Hi, this is George Hall with Orenda International. I want to welcome you to Ultimate Knowledge. Our recording is about stress and toxins that we experience in our environment every single day. How you might detoxify yourself from those exposures and experience extraordinary health, vitality, and a very, very strong immune system. On this recording, you'll be joined by Dr. Shan-Hong Liu, who's an MD, PhD, and an expert in functional medicine. The recording is about 18 minutes long. Listen to whatever portions are important to you. We'd be happy to follow up with you with any questions you may have. Thank you. My name is George Hall. I'm one of the co-founders of Orenda International, and I'm going to be joined tonight by Dr. Shan-Hong Liu. Now, Dr. Liu is an MD and a PhD. As a native of China, Dr. Liu got her medical degree from Beijing Medical University, her PhD from the University of Wisconsin, and she was fellowship trained in hypertension at the University of San Francisco. Since then, Dr. Liu has educated herself and become an expert in anti-aging, regenerative, and functional medicine. She pursues a vegan lifestyle. She's serious about maintaining a detoxified body and the strongest immune system she possibly can have. By doing this, she sets an excellent example for the people who follow her in the Orenda business and for the hundreds and thousands of people who've benefited from her guidance, from her direction. Dr. Liu, it's a pleasure to have you.
Yes, it's always a really exciting time, when we can share the very natural ways to help the body dealing with the stress and toxins.
And I know you're on your iPhone tonight because you're right between some lectures that you're doing in the area of Chico, California. So we appreciate you taking time out of your very, very busy schedule here tonight. Well, Dr. Liu, to start out, tonight we're going to be talking about two major subjects. The toxic soup we live in and how to get rid of, how to detoxify as effectively as possible. Secondly, we're going to be talking about how to deal with an immune system that's underperforming, what a doctor calls an anergic immune system, and how to trigger the macrophage and natural killer cells and get our immune systems in a ready-to-respond state. Not stimulate them, but a ready-to-respond state with the Th1 and Th2 immune sides balanced. And so great science here tonight. To start out, Dr. Liu, I know that you're very, very passionate about toxins. There's no question we live in a toxic soup. And, even our government tried to solve the problem in 1976 when they passed the Toxic Substances Control Act. And that required that all new chemicals be studied by a protocol set out by the EPA. But of the 84,000 chemicals that are listed since that act came into play, only 200 have been tested by the EPA as required by the act. And part of this has been a lack of funding, a lack of focus, and some industry blocking and pressure from the agricultural industry. And so we have tens of thousands of chemicals that the population is consuming every day, and we really don't know how devastating their effects might possibly be. We suspect out of that 84,000 that at least 800 of those chemicals are hormone disruptors that can really create chaos within the body, and more notable mostly in women than men. But with all the autoimmune things that are cropping up right now, it really is kind of a mess. We really need to take very, very seriously this need to detoxify. And Dr. Liu, I know you're very passionate about glyphosate, which is being used in enormous numbers. I mean, it's estimated that 1.35 million metric tons of glyphosate were sprayed on crops in 2017 worldwide. 1.35 million tons. That is a colossal amount. The World Health Organization has named glyphosate as a likely carcinogen. It's a disruptor of the gut biome. It's a hormone disruptor. Glyphosate is one of the most widely used agricultural chemicals in the world, and it's available in the home as well as a weed killer. And so, Dr. Liu, I know you're very, very passionate about this issue of toxins, And yet you've tested yourself, you're almost toxin free living in the United States. And so it's a big threat, but we don't have to live with that threat.
Absolutely, George. I think one thing about detoxification is we need a scientifically driven program, because I have lived in Mount Shasta. We have people have been detoxifying themselves for 20, 30 years. Many of them don't really understand what is the blocks to release the toxin eventually into the environment instead of holding it back into the body. One of the key ingredients is really about cellular detoxification. People talk about cellular detoxification, and really there's no measurement of such thing, right, for a long time. And up until recently, we were able to actually measure it through urine analysis. And that's where all the, incredible results start to come out. And then one of the lady I saw, she was 28 years old, had been an organic eater, and she's very, very healthy. But when we did her toxin test and she was loaded, and what she was lacking, even though taking all these nutritional supplements, is she was lacking the cellular detox process. And also what is really important is recycling mechanism of toxins. Many people miss that most toxins coming out of the bile into the small gut and colon, they actually 80% are reabsorbed into the liver. And that's actually with the assistance of beta-glucuronidase, which is an enzyme that's present in the gut. So with our program, we were able to block the recycle of the toxins. And according to Dr. Thomas Slaga, he actually discovered the recycling of toxins and the secondary exposure of toxins can be more detrimental than the first-time exposure. So some of the detox program can actually be kind of unsafe in a way. So
yeah, you don't want to liberate the toxins from the cells if they're not going to move through the liver, if they're not going to get out of the colon, if we're not going to get rid of them every day. And Dr. Slaga was the head of prevention programs at MD Anderson. We had a chance to work with him in the creation of the Orenda Immune. And Dr. Liu, his philosophy was you need to detoxify at the cellular level every single day. The process is called glucuronidation, discovered at Ohio State University School of Medicine, and it's where these glucuranoids actually conjugate with these dangerous toxins, move them into the bloodstream where they collect in the colon, we get rid of them in daily elimination, and if you have enough of this deglucarate, then the beta-glucuronidase cannot recycle it, which is that very dangerous recycling, and that's one of the things that makes our Orenda Immune so powerful, isn't it?
Absolutely, George. Before Orenda, about 12 years ago, I, didn't even realize I was toxic. And because I lived in China, we played with DDT, and I lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where the basically agricultural chemicals were everywhere. So what we start to see with the measurement is within 3 months to 6 months, people's toxic load, not just glyphosate, but also other agricultural chemical levels were coming down. And what's really important is actually people, how they feel. They feel fantastic, they feel clear, their brain fog is gone, and they just have a much more clarity and light inside them when they're detoxified.
Well, they really do. Dr. Liu, I'm a baby boomer, and I know that about 15 or 17 years ago, they tested a group of baby boomers, more than 300 of them, and they found that they still had DDT in their body. DDT has been illegal to use in the United States for more than 30 years, but it's these sticky, waxy toxins that stick to the individual cells. That's what the deglucarate is so good for. It bonds with those toxins, helps you get rid of them every single day, and so we're all exposed every single day. Now you can eat a vegan diet, and you can eat an organic diet, and you can do all of those things, but you and I still have to breathe the same air. If you travel around, you're not always going to have perfectly filtered water, and you don't always know what your vegetables were washed in when you're eating them, and that sort of thing. You need to detoxify every day. That was Thomas Slega's message, and I think that's a powerful message. It's one we carry through our program and one that our products emphasize. Well, Dr. Liu, let's switch.
Yes. So what I like to just emphasize, because many people say, well, can I just take the glucarate? Why do I need to take the specific immune products? What I want to point it out is when the toxins came out, your body become actually a inflammatory mess. So many people don't understand detoxification can cause lots of discomfort and also immune system chaos. For people, they have autoimmune tendencies, such as women, myself, we have autoimmune tendencies. Going through menopause, losing hormonal balance, we are at risk to have autoimmune storm. So if you just do detox without balancing the immune system, women can actually go through a lot of long time challenge doing the detoxification. So again, I want to emphasize on that. Some people ask what is the difference between glucuronidation and glutathione conjugation. Now, glutathione is one of the most detoxifier. It's produced by the body, and so is glucarate. Glucarate is also produced by the body, but the functions are quite different. Glutathione is in charge of detoxification of heavy metal mainly. Chemicals not as strong. Glucuronidation is incredibly, purely important because since in the liver, the liver's fatty cells are damaged. They cannot produce enough glutathione to deal with the chemicals. On top of that, there's a large group of people with glutathione genetic challenge. They cannot recycle it. So I consider glucuronidation is a shortcut for chemical detoxification. Once you unload the chemicals in the liver, glutathione you have will be used for heavy metal detox and much, much better and safer than just doing glutathione detoxification.
And what it goes to show with is, working with people like Thomas Slega, as we did, putting the Orenda Immune together, it's a brilliant product. Now, Dr. Liu, you mentioned that sometimes when you start detoxifying, that has an inflammatory effect. And that's the Th1 side of the immune system. The Th2 side of the immune system is the calming side. And in our product, additionally, we have mermal peptides, which help to wake up the Th1 side. They make macrophage, they're like catnip for the macrophage. They raise the activity level. And in vitro tests that we have done at Brunswick Labs, our mermal peptides increase the activity level of natural killer cells 16 times their natural baseline. That's the most effective immune trigger any place in the world right now. It makes our product really stand out. But secondly, we balance that now with beta-1,3 glucans, which facilitate the Th2 side of the immune system so that we don't get out of balance. That's why we call this product an immune modulator, not an immune stimulator. It puts your immune system in a ready to respond state, but doesn't force it to respond, doesn't get it out of control. That's very, very important, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, George, one of the challenge when people are aging is their memory T cells goes up. So they become very sensitive to everything they were exposed to, but their natural killer cell go down. And that's a severe imbalance of the immune system in people that are aging without any help. Because some people say, well, aren't I supposed to be naturally aging? Well, naturally aging is really severe, we call immunopause. So your immune system went into a pause because of a loss of natural killer cell production. So with Orenda Immune, it's absolutely preventing one of the most devastating immune pauses. The beta-glucan is a very potent immune modulator by itself. So when you add these three ingredients together, it makes Orenda Immune one of the most unique and the most powerful. And no matter what kind of people we are, trying to support, we are not treating the disease again. We are supporting the body's natural function to detoxify most efficiently and most effectively, right? We also support the natural killer cells, preventing it from declining with old age. Beta-glucan is a beautiful, not only beta-glucan actually have receptors in the gut. Many people don't know that. Beta-glucan is a fantastic natural element our body rely on to feed the probiotic. And on top of that is an incredible immune modulator. So, when I start seeing results from the Orenda Immune, is I become very humbled. I Dr. Thomas to the world and give it to Orenda so we can help a lot of people.
Well, that is terrific. And Dr. Liu, if a person, even a health professional, goes into the health food store and tries to reassemble these ingredients, first of all, they're not going to find peptides anywhere.
Right.
We're a one in the world in this. But even if they could, getting things in the right balance, I mean, if you get your beta-1,3 glucans from a yeast source, you're going to get lots of allergic response. It's very important what the source is, what the purity is, and what the balance of the ingredients. It would be very, very hard for somebody to put these together without knocking themselves out of balance and having an unhappy result after all the effort.
I actually did have one patient have severe neurodegenerative disease, and she wanted to go online to see if she can self-make the glucarate, peptide beta-glucan. And of course, she found, number one, it's almost $300 a bottle just for 60 capsules. And number two, there's no way she can compose it in such a concentration and ratio, right? The ingredients, Dr. Thomas Laga is the top of immunoscience. So, and he also did a lot of study with his patients. So that's why, I don't even try to make it up myself. It's too expensive and it doesn't probably work.
Yeah, it brings up an important point about Orenda's strategy, and I think this is important from a scientific standpoint. And that is that when we walk into a health food store, or a Whole Food store, there are 3,000 or 4,000 different nutritional products. And, even for an educated person, they walk in and they think wow, each of these products by themselves, they must make some kind of sense. But when you put them all together, it's a confusing. I've talked to so many people serious about their health who've tried to find their way through that confusion, and they've just given up. And what we've done in Orenda is we have a few comprehensive products, each one targeted to reestablish the natural and normal balance of one of the key systems of the human body. And so we're really talking here about our Orenda Immune. It's balanced to do the detoxification and immune modulation and reestablish. This makes a lot of sense to me as a layperson, but even with the education that you have, this makes a lot of sense for you in your practice with patients. I think it makes a lot of sense to everybody.
Absolutely, George. When we talk about immune support, we have lots of Chinese herbs and natural supplements support immune system. But many, many people do not understand environmental toxins and stress influence the top three systems first. Number one is immune system. Immune system is extremely sensitive to environmental toxins. The second is neuroendocrine system, very, very sensitive to stress and toxins. Number three is reproductive endocrine system. Again, xenoestrogens and endocrine disrupting chemicals, obesogens, they are the most sensitive. So when you look at the complete program with Orenda, is we are supporting neuroendocrine system, detoxification immune system, nutrition, and digestion. So recently, I always want to talk to people, yes, immune itself is incredible, addressing detox and immune, but if you combine the whole program together, you are reaching a level of clarity and sustainability. I think one of the things about, my own personal journey with Orenda for 12 years is really about sustainable, simple, and make scientific sense.
Dr. Liu, I want to thank you very much for being with us this evening.